Okay, I'm back out here. 47 minutes. I was at Pinhay Forest making these videos before. Uh, you know, um, First order of business I want to establish was that the TCAT Predators from To Catch a Predator, and Jay Refner and um, Jay Refner, is it Kevin Stacy or Kevin Spacey, or was it Jeff Jeff Stacy? Yeah, I think it was just Jay Refner, Jeff Stacy, John Pierre Michael Weary. You read about them and you know that they did the right thing, right? You know that they did the right thing because you can easily justify it. You commit genocide against 20 million, 30 million natives and force them to live under the bureaucratic draconian way of the modern world. So and then why bother creating a show like To Catch a Predator? Why bother have Chris Hansen walk in and why bother have like any of it mean anything, right? Because we're already saying that that these shows, we're already saying that all white people are evil. So then they did the right thing, right? Would have terrorized a little white person, and that's it. And that's the end of story, right? Why keep this pony ride going any longer? The same way Adam Meyer Clayton said, like why bother, right? Um, no, because he was in an immense amount of like physical and psychological pain. So whatever happened to him happened, right? Like, and I mean, he was advocating for euthanasia, death by doctor, the same way anybody else would. Now, obviously, it's very interesting about white people that that they would advocate that like, well, we'll just say there is a white supremacist, or America is a white supremacist nation or whatever, and maybe they're advocating for one type of person or something. I don't know, right? But like for one, you have to be a high IQ individual who knows what to say, when to say it, how to say it before it even happens. That's option A. Option B is they are a robot. They're a robot or some kind of AI or some kind of a person that was somehow just spawned into the matrix. They're not even a person. They're one of those UAP things from Iraq. Pardon my French. That's option B. Option C, they are they're a manifestation of a bunch of individuals idealizing one individual who appeals to populism, an individual who's popular. They could talk to anyone and everyone, they're cool with everybody and whatever, right? So they're one of those three options. That's who they are, right? And um you know I'll make fun of the average person about just how stupid and worthless they are when it comes to these conversations, and how pathetic they try to protect any of their stupid notions and beliefs. I'll easily break it down and destroy it, and just bring the conversation back to here. I'm looking for Meadowlands or something. No, I'll easily break this conversation down and make it up into simple terms where the person can understand why they're wrong. And I mean, that's the first order of business. I think there was something else I wanted to say. I mentioned extreme societies. I mentioned, obviously everybody knows the system was to blame. Whether we're blaming one person or another, or the system as a whole. Like, I already explained. I chose to become a plumber, and I chose this low-key career to blend in with the rest of the population. Um, blaming those actors from those 1950s movies, like who told them to make the movie, who even bring them about. You have to criticize them, and you have to go in the past, and you have to fix that moment when things all broke apart. Because again, like when I chose to become a plumber, right? Everybody has a reason why they choose the career they choose, and whether you take me seriously, right? Because you have every reason not to take me seriously, right? Starting from my diet, from the moment you're born, starting from your diet, that's all it would have taken, or even that the baby didn't, or the baby or the infant, you will when I was a baby or infant, the fact that you don't physically engage the world enough, like you're not physically moving enough, that's a problem. That's a real problem, because you end up in having poor muscle strength. Literally, it comes from that moment when you were an infant or a baby. And this is why they laugh at us. This is why, I don't know, this is why aliens laugh at us. And I already said it, like, if it was up to me, like, all these things are wrong, right? All of these things are wrong, backwards, and we already, like, I've already established in video before that, that the world doesn't make sense, right? The world doesn't make sense. I don't know why capitalism or the modern world believes that it somehow, it makes sense, and everything just has logic, and there's a pattern, and there's this thing like chance, and that, excuse me, that there's like a game, or that there's some kind of fate, and you can control your fate, and you could script these things, and I have to make these videos. I have to make these videos because everything that I've experienced in my life is authentic. I'm being truthful, I'm being authentic. I experienced heartache, issues, and fighting for reasons and for no reason, right? I knew about some of the reasons, right? And obviously, they're gonna put the blame on me, and they're looking for someone to blame, and um